While I was bathing, my husband shut off gas and electricity. Laughing. Maybe now you'll learn to listen. I grabbed my emergency stash, booked a hotel, and filed for divorce. When he got home to a freezing house and an eviction notice, he screamed. "You can't do this to me." I just smiled and said, "Watch me." The house was quiet except for the sound of water sloshing against the sides of the tub. As I shifted, the scent of lavender bath oil lingered in the steamy air, wrapping around me like a much-needed embrace. My muscles ached from another long, exhausting day. Work had been a nightmare, as usual, and coming home to Jared was just another form of stress. But at least for now, in the warm cocoon of the bathtub, I could pretend I was somewhere else. I closed my eyes, letting my head rest against the cool porcelain edge, listening to the rhythmic drip of the faucet. Just a few more minutes. Just a little more time before I had to go back out there and pretend everything was fine. Then darkness. The light above flickered once. Then shut off completely. A second later, the heater died and the gentle hum of the house fell into an eerie silence. I sat up. My skin instantly prickling with goosebumps as the cold air rushed in. My heart thudded in my chest. Did the power just go out? I blinked against the sudden darkness, listening. That's when I heard it. Laughter. Low, cruel, and unmistakably Jared's. "Maybe now you'll learn to listen." His voice echoed through the hallway, the words laced with amusement. My stomach dropped. I gripped the edge of the tub, my pulse hammering as my mind tried to catch up. What the hell did he just say? I swallowed down the growing lump in my throat and reached for my phone on the bath tray. I pressed the power button. Nothing yet. No. I grabbed a towel, wrapping it around myself as I stepped out of the tub, my wet feet slapping against the tile, my breath puffed out in the now freezing air as I groped around in the dark for my robe, my fingers numb with both cold and disbelief. "Jared!" I shouted, my voice sharp with anger. "What the hell did you do?" I yanked the bathroom door open. Stepping into the pitch-black hallway, the only source of light was the dim glow of the city lights bleeding through the living room window. Jared was there, standing near the front door with his arms crossed. A smug grin stretched across his face. He actually looked proud of himself. "Thought you needed a little lesson," he said, leaning against the wall like he hadn't just deliberately sabotaged our homes. "Utilities. In the middle of December. Maybe now you'll stop running your mouth every time I tell you something." I stared at him, my wet hair clinging to my face, my damp robe already doing little to keep the cold at bay. "You shut off the power and gas." My voice came out flat, but inside I was trembling with something far worse than cold. Jared shrugged like it was nothing. "Had to show you who's in charge around here." My breath caught in my throat. For years, Jared had been controlling in subtle ways, belittling my opinions, making decisions without me, dismissing me like I was an annoyance. But this was something else. He was enjoying this. Something inside me snapped. I straightened, tightening the robe around myself as my mind sharpened into complete clarity. I was done. I didn't argue, I didn't lead. I didn't cry. I just turned around and walked straight to our bedroom. "What? You're giving me the silent treatment now?" Jared called out behind me. "You'll get over it, babe. You always do." I didn't respond. Instead, I grabbed the emergency stash I'd been secretly putting away for months. A few $100s here, a little cash back from the grocery store there. I had nearly $2,000 saved. Not a fortune, but enough. I threw some clothes into a duffel bag, grabbed my passport, my phone charger, anything I could think of in that moment. I didn't even look at the framed wedding picture on my nightstand. Jared must have heard me moving around, because a second later, he was in the doorway. He frowned. "What are you doing?" I zipped up the duffel and slung it over my shoulder. "Leaving?" He let out a sharp laugh like I had just told a joke. "The hell you are." I pushed past him. "Are you serious right now?" Jared grabbed my arm. His fingers tightening around my wrist. "You're not actually leaving." I yanked myself free. "Watch me." He didn't try to stop me again. I walked to the front door, grabbed my keys, and stepped out into the freezing night air. I heard Jared shouting something behind me, but I didn't turn around. I got in my car, started the engine and drove away. I didn't cry. I didn't second-guess myself. I just kept driving. An hour later, I sat on the stiff hotel bed, staring at my phone. I could call my mom. No. Too much explaining. I could call my best friend, Sarah. No. She'd tell me to go back to try to work things out. Instead, I Googled the best divorce lawyers in Denver. My hands shook as I dialed the number. "Rogers & Company, how can I help you?" A woman's voice answered. I swallowed hard. I need a divorce lawyer. There, I said it. And for the first time in a long time I felt free. The next day, Jared was served the divorce papers. The text started almost immediately. Are you serious? Come home. Let's talk. You're being dramatic. Then the anger. You think you're so smart, you won't survive without me. You're making a mistake. Then the desperation. I'm sorry. Please don't do this. Let's just fix this. I didn't reply to a single one. The week after I moved out officially, I had already removed my name from our lease. And thanks to my lawyer, had quietly transferred all the bills to Jared's name. My auto pay was cancelled, the rent was due. Then the eviction notice came that night. My phone buzzed relentlessly. You can't do this to me. I smirked. Oh, but I could. Then the intercom at my new apartment blared. I walked over and pressed the button. What do you want, Jared? His voice cracked. Lena, please. You can't just leave me like this. The gas is off, the electricity, how am I supposed to live? I leaned against the wall. My voice smooth and steady. Maybe now you'll learn to listen. You beat me. He exploded. You think you're better than me? You think you'll be happy without me? I smiled to myself. Watch me. Then I hung up, and for the first time in years, I felt truly, undeniably alive. The silence after I hung up felt different. It wasn't empty or heavy like it used to be. When Jared would storm out after an argument. It was clean, like fresh air after a thunderstorm. I turned away from the intercom, exhaling a slow breath. My hands weren't shaking. My heart wasn't racing. I wasn't waiting for the inevitable. Jared showing up at the door, demanding I open up, threatening to break it down if I didn't because he didn't know where I live now. And I sure as hell wasn't going to tell him. I grabbed my phone, scrolling through the endless notifications, missed calls, voicemails, texts that started off demanding, turned into pathetic pleas, then swung back to rage. Jared had always been like that. Incapable of handling someone, telling him no, I deleted them all without reading past the first few words. Then I turned off my phone for the first time in years. I had the power. The next few weeks were a blur of logistics, caught. Documents, financial paperwork, phone calls with my lawyer, Camille. She was ruthless in the best way possible. You were smart to have your own account, she told me one morning over the phone. He's going to try to drain the joint one now that he realizes you're not coming back. Let him. I said. I took my name off of it 2 days ago. There was a pause, then a soft chuckle. I have to say, Lena, you're handling this better than most people. I leaned back on my tiny new couch. Staring at the ceiling, my new apartment was small, but it was mine. No, Jared, no tension. Thick enough to choke on. No waiting for the next argument, the next cruel comment disguised as a joke. The next moment where he reminded me that I was less. I think I said, I've been ready for this for a long time, and I had. The next time Jared called, it was from a number I didn't recognize. I picked up without thinking. You think you're clever, don't you? His voice was cold, sharp. I rolled my eyes. I was wondering when you try again. Surprised you didn't block your number this time. You destroyed my life, Lena. I laughed, actually laughed. Oh, really? I destroyed your life. Funny, I thought. Shutting off the gas and electricity while your wife was naked in the bathtub was a great way to keep a marriage alive. Jared was silent for a long moment. Then he scoffed. You always have to be the victim, don't you? I gritted my teeth. No, Jared. I was the survivor. You don't know how to survive without me. It was almost sad how much you believed that, how much he needed it to be true. I smiled. He couldn't see it, but I hoped he could hear it in my voice when I said watch me, then I hung up. And this time I blocked the number. Jared was out of my life for good. At least that's what I thought. But people like Jared, they don't let go that easily. Locking Jared's number should have been the end of it. But of course, Jared had never been the kind of man to take accountability or move on. At first it was small things. Sarah, my old friend, the one I hadn't even told where I was living, sent me a message out of nowhere. Jared says you ran off and left him with all the bills. That true? I sighed. I wasn't even surprised. I typed back. Did he also tell you he shut off the heat and electricity while I was in the bathtub? Her response came almost instantly. Wait, what? I took a deep breath and called her. If Jared was trying to control the narrative, I had to get ahead of him. Sarah answered on the first ring. Okay. What the hell happened? I told her the whole story. The gas, the power. The laughing, the way he had tried to twist everything after I left, acting like I had blindsided him, when in reality, I had just finally gotten the courage to walk away. By the time I was done, she was furious. That piece of shit. He made it sound like you just up and left for no reason. Of course he did. I shook my head. Did he also tell you I took my name off the bills and bank account before I left? There was a long silence. Then she laughed. Holy shit, you actually got ahead of him. Damn right I did. Okay, well, now I feel like an asshole for believing him for even a second, she admitted. He's been telling everyone that you screwed him over. Let him talk. I said simply, the people who matter will figure out the truth. And sure enough, they did. Jared had always been the kind of guy who cared about his image, not in an obvious, flashy way. He wasn't the guy posting gym selfies or bragging about his job online, but he needed people to see him as the good guy. The charming, reliable, poor, mistreated husband who just wanted his wife back. But the thing about people like Jared, they can only keep up the act for so long. Once Sarah knew the truth, she told everyone, and I mean everyone. Our mutual friends started texting. Some were apologetic. Some admitted they had their suspicions about Jared for years, but never wanted to get in the middle of things. His own co-workers, his own friends started side-eyeing him. And then the cherry on top. His landlord found out about the eviction. Apparently, Jared had been going around telling people that I had stolen all our money and ran, that he was broke because of me, but his landlord, he was no fool. He went back through our old records, saw that I had been the one handling the payments on time. Saw what? I had removed my name from the lease. And then he made sure the next place Jared applied to denied him on the spot. I didn't even have to lift a finger. Jared had dug his own grave, I just let him fall into it. One day, about 2 months after I left, I was walking back to my apartment after work when I saw him, Jared sitting on the front steps of my building. Looking like a man who had lost everything. His clothes were wrinkled, his hair unkempt, his face unshaven. This was not the Jared I had known, the man who used to preen in the mirror before work, who cared so much about how people saw him. For the first time in my life, I saw him without the mask, and honestly, it was pathetic. He looked up as I approached Lena. I didn't stop walking. Jared. He scrambled to his feet. We need to talk. No we don't, he stepped in front of me, blocking my path. Please. I sighed, crossing my arms. You have 1 minute and then I'm going inside. His jaw clenched.
Good morning， 早安，妈妈们。借我你那个麦试下。你们收到了这个 Oxford Dictionary Pen 没有啊 ？E 卡姆斯就是上次 Copy 的第一，跟这个 E 卡姆斯配合，然后开卖的这个 E 卡姆斯。就是 E 卡姆斯我自己呢也有买一套给我的孩子，然后呢我也买一套送给了一位朋友的孩子啊。好，早上好，妈妈们，聊聊未来是吗？这里有没有在坐月子的妈妈，坐月子啊，或者是在怀孕的妈妈 ？Copy 这里有一些东西，有一些产品要与你们分享一下。其实在筹备着，很希望呢，就是你们看到我们 Copy House 呢，在母婴这个领域，为这个母
Like he hated that I was in control of this conversation, but he swallowed his pride and nodded. Everything's gone to shit since you left, he admitted. I lost the apartment. I had to move in with my brother, He hesitated, looking down at his feet like he couldn't believe the words he was about to say. I messed up, Lena. I raised an eyebrow. You sure did. I don't know how it got this bad. I laughed, shaking my head. Are you kidding me, Jared? You shut off the power and gas while I was in the bathtub, and then you had the nerve to act like I was the problem. It got this bad because you thought you were invincible. You thought I'd never leave. He looked genuinely stunned, like he had never once considered that his actions had consequences. Look, he said, rubbing the back of his neck. I was thinking maybe, we could try again. I blinked. Then I laughed hard. He flinched like he hadn't expected that reaction, Jared. I said, still chuckling. Are you seriously asking me to take you back? He hesitated. I just think. No. I cut him off. I'm not doing this with you. His expression darkened. So that's it. You're just going to pretend like none of this ever happened. I stepped closer, lowering my voice. Oh, no. Jared. I remember everything. That's exactly why I'm never going back. His nostrils flared, and for a second I saw the old Jared, the one who had loved making me feel small. At this time. He had no power, no control. I leaned in. Voice calm and steady. You said I wouldn't survive without you. I murmured. And yet here I am. Jared swallowed hard. You know the difference between us. I continued, I moved on. I rebuilt my life. And you? You're still here. Standing in the wreckage of your own choices. His jaw clenched so hard I thought his teeth might crack. I smiled. Watch me. Jared. Then I walked past him up the stairs and into my new life. And this time, when I shut the door behind me, I knew he was never coming back.